Nightmares are more than frightening stories created by the sleeping mind. They are emotional signals rising from deep within our subconscious. While they may terrify us in the middle of the night, many nightmares reflect hidden fears, unresolved stress, and emotional struggles that quietly shape our waking lives and inner thoughts. One of the most common nightmares people experience involves being chased by something threatening. In this dream, the dreamer is running desperately through streets, forests, or unfamiliar places, while something follows closely behind. The pursuer might be a stranger, a shadow, an animal, or sometimes an unknown force that cannot clearly be seen. No matter how fast the dreamer runs, escape seems impossible. Emotionally, this nightmare often reveals a deep fear of confrontation. In waking life, many people avoid difficult conversations, painful decisions, or responsibilities that feel overwhelming. Instead of facing the issue directly, they push it aside and hope it disappears. The subconscious mind, however, does not forget these pressures. The image of being chased represents problems or emotions that the dreamer is trying to escape. The faster the dreamer runs, the stronger the symbol becomes. It shows the exhausting effort of avoiding something that continues to follow. Sometimes the identity of the pursuer can provide clues about the hidden fear. If the pursuer resembles someone familiar, the dream may reflect unresolved conflict with that person. If the pursuer appears as a dark shadow or monster, it may symbolize internal fears such as guilt, anxiety, or self-doubt. Another emotional layer involves stress and responsibility. People who feel constantly pressured by work, family expectations, or personal goals often experience this nightmare. The endless running reflects the feeling that life's demands never slow down. Interestingly, the nightmare can change if the dreamer stops running and faces the pursuer. Some people report that when they turn around in the dream, the threat weakens or disappears. This moment can symbolize the power of confronting fears instead of avoiding them. Being chased in a nightmare is rarely about physical danger. Instead, it reveals emotional struggles hidden beneath daily routines. The dream acts as a message from the subconscious, urging the dreamer to acknowledge what they have been avoiding. Although these nightmares can feel terrifying, they often carry an important lesson. Facing fears in waking life, whether through honest conversation, decision-making, or emotional reflection, can gradually reduce the intensity of these dreams. Ultimately, the chasing nightmare reminds us that unresolved fears rarely disappear on their own. They wait patiently in the shadows of our minds, appearing in dreams until we finally gather the courage to turn around and face them. Another powerful nightmare that many people experience is the sensation of falling from a great height. The dream often begins with the dreamer standing on a cliff, building, or mountain. Suddenly, the ground disappears beneath their feet, and they plunge downward into empty space. The feeling can be so vivid that the body jolts awake before impact. Emotionally, this nightmare often reveals a hidden fear of losing control. Life can sometimes feel stable and secure, but sudden changes, such as career uncertainty, financial stress, or relationship problems, can create deep anxiety. The mind translates this instability into the terrifying image of falling. The height from which the dreamer falls can symbolize the level of responsibility or pressure they feel in waking life. Someone who carries significant expectations may fear the consequences of failure. The fall becomes a reflection of those fears. Another layer of meaning relates to trust. Falling often occurs when something that once felt safe suddenly collapses. The nightmare may represent broken trust in relationships or uncertainty about the future. For some individuals, this nightmare appears during times of personal transition. Starting a new job, moving to a different place, or entering unfamiliar environments can create emotional instability. The dream reflects the fear that things may not go as planned. The emotional reaction during the fall is also important. If the dreamer feels pure terror, it may reflect overwhelming stress. If the dream contains moments of surrender or calm during the fall, it may suggest that the dreamer is beginning to accept change, even if it feels frightening. Psychologists often note that falling nightmares can occur when people feel unsupported. The mind may be expressing the belief that there is no safety net if things go wrong. However, these nightmares also reveal the human desire for stability. By recognizing the fears hidden within them, individuals can begin to rebuild confidence and security in waking life. Ultimately, the falling nightmare reminds us that uncertainty is part of growth. While the sensation of falling can feel terrifying, it often appears when life is shifting in important ways. Understanding this fear can help transform anxiety into awareness, allowing people to regain balance and move forward with greater strength and clarity. Few nightmares leave people as disturbed as the experience of teeth falling out. In this dream, the moment often begins quietly. The dreamer might feel a loose tooth with their tongue, notice a crack, or see a tooth suddenly break apart in their hand. Soon more teeth begin to crumble or fall, sometimes filling the dreamer's mouth or dropping helplessly to the ground. Emotionally, this nightmare often reveals a deep fear related to self-image and personal confidence. Teeth play a powerful role in how people present themselves to the world. They are connected to speaking, smiling, and expressing identity. When teeth fall out in a nightmare, the subconscious may be reflecting anxiety about how others perceive us. Many individuals experience this nightmare during moments when they feel judged or exposed. Situations such as job interviews, public speaking, relationship conflicts, or important social interactions can create pressure about appearance and reputation. The dream transforms this emotional vulnerability into the shocking symbol of losing teeth. Another hidden fear connected to this nightmare involves communication. Teeth help us speak clearly, so losing them in a dream may represent difficulty expressing thoughts or emotions. The dreamer may feel unheard, misunderstood, or afraid of saying something wrong in waking life. The nightmare can also reveal deeper fears about aging or personal change. Teeth are symbols of strength and health. When they break or fall out in a dream, the subconscious may be expressing anxiety about losing control over time, appearance, or physical well-being. Stress often intensifies this nightmare. During periods of high emotional pressure, the mind may create images of things breaking, collapsing, or falling apart. Teeth become powerful symbols because they are usually strong and permanent parts of the body. The emotional reaction inside the nightmare is also meaningful. Panic or embarrassment may suggest fear of humiliation or public failure. If the dreamer feels sadness instead, it may represent a sense of losing something valuable about themselves. Despite how frightening the nightmare feels, it often serves as a reminder of how closely self-confidence and communication are connected. When people learn to express themselves honestly and accept imperfections, the emotional tension behind the nightmare often fades. Ultimately, the nightmare of losing teeth reflects the human fear of losing control over identity, appearance, or voice. By recognizing this fear, the dreamer can begin to strengthen confidence and rediscover the power of authentic self-expression. Nightmares about being lost can feel deeply unsettling. In these dreams, the dreamer may wander through unfamiliar streets, endless buildings, dark forests, or confusing cities. Every path seems uncertain, and no matter which direction they choose, the way forward remains unclear. Emotionally, this nightmare often reveals a hidden fear of losing direction in life. Humans naturally seek purpose and stability. When life becomes confusing or uncertain, the subconscious mind expresses that confusion through the powerful image of being lost. Many people experience this nightmare during periods of major change. Career decisions, relationship challenges, or personal transitions can create the feeling that life's path is no longer clear. The dream reflects the anxiety of not knowing which direction to take. The environment within the dream often holds symbolic meaning. A dark forest may represent emotional confusion, while a crowded city might symbolize pressure from society or expectations from others. Endless hallways or unfamiliar houses can reflect feelings of being trapped in complicated situations. Another emotional layer involves identity. Being lost may symbolize the fear of losing connection with one's true self. People sometimes become so focused on responsibilities or expectations that they forget their own desires and passions. The nightmare becomes a reflection of that inner disconnection. The emotional experience during the dream is usually filled with frustration and anxiety. The dreamer may search for familiar landmarks or ask strangers for help, only to remain confused. This mirrors the real life struggle of seeking clarity during uncertain times. Interestingly, some versions of this nightmare end when the dreamer finds a path, meets a guide, or suddenly recognizes the surroundings. These moments can symbolize the mind beginning to process solutions or regain confidence. Being lost in a nightmare does not necessarily mean the dreamer has truly lost their direction. Instead, it often appears when the mind is actively searching for meaning, answers, or new purpose. The dream reminds us that uncertainty is part of personal growth. Life rarely follows a perfectly straight path, and moments of confusion often lead to deeper understanding. Ultimately, this nightmare reveals the hidden fear of drifting without guidance. Yet it also highlights the human ability to search, adapt, and eventually rediscover direction, even in the most confusing moments of life. Nightmares about being attacked or trapped can be among the most frightening experiences during sleep. In these dreams, the dreamer may face an aggressive stranger, a terrifying creature, or an invisible force. Sometimes the dreamer is trapped in a room, cornered in a narrow space, or unable to escape danger. Emotionally, this nightmare often reflects deep feelings of vulnerability. The mind may be responding to situations in waking life where the dreamer feels threatened, powerless, or overwhelmed by external pressures. For many people, this nightmare appears during periods of intense stress, conflict at work, tension in relationships, or overwhelming responsibilities can create the sense that life's demands are closing in from all sides. The attacker in the dream may symbolize something more abstract than physical danger. It could represent fear of failure, guilt about past actions, or emotional wounds that have not fully healed. The subconscious transforms these internal struggles into a dramatic confrontation. Another interpretation focuses on suppressed emotions, anger, frustration, or resentment that has been hidden for too long, may appear in dreams as an attacking force. The mind may be attempting to release emotional pressure that has built up beneath the surface. Feeling trapped within the dream adds another layer of meaning. Being unable to escape can symbolize the belief that real-life problems have no easy solution. The dreamer may feel stuck in a difficult job relationship or personal situation. The emotional intensity of the nightmare often includes panic and helplessness. The dreamer may try to fight back, run away, or shout for help, but feel unable to move or speak. This reflects the fear of lacking control in waking life. However, the nightmare can also reveal hidden strength. When the dreamer manages to escape, fight back, or wake up before harm occurs, it may symbolize the mind preparing to confront challenges in real life. Ultimately, nightmares of attack or entrapment reflect the human fear of losing safety and control. By understanding the emotional pressures behind the dream, individuals can begin to address the sources of stress that may be influencing their subconscious mind. One of the most emotionally painful nightmares involves losing someone deeply loved. In these dreams, the dreamer may witness a loved one disappearing, being taken away, or even dying. The emotional impact can be overwhelming, often leaving the dreamer waking with sadness or fear. This nightmare usually reflects a deep fear of separation rather than a literal prediction. Human relationships are powerful emotional bonds, and the subconscious mind sometimes expresses anxiety about losing those connections. People often experience this nightmare during times when relationships feel uncertain. Arguments, distance, or unresolved conflict can create fear about the stability of the bond. The dream transforms that anxiety into the dramatic image of losing the person entirely. Another interpretation involves fear of change. As people grow and life circumstances evolve, relationships naturally shift. The nightmare may represent the fear that these changes will lead to emotional distance or disconnection. The dream may also appear during moments when the dreamer feels protective towards someone they love. Worry about a partner, child, or family member's safety can trigger powerful emotional imagery in dreams. Interestingly, this nightmare sometimes reflects the dreamer's own emotional dependence. The mind may be acknowledging how deeply that relationship shapes personal identity and security. The emotional reaction inside the nightmare often includes grief, panic, or helplessness. These feelings reveal how strongly the dreamer values the relationship and fears losing it. Despite its painful nature, the dream can also serve as a reminder of the importance of connection. It encourages reflection on how relationships are nurtured and appreciated in waking life. In many cases, individuals who experience this nightmare become more aware of how much their loved ones mean to them. The dream highlights the fragile yet powerful nature of human bonds. Ultimately, the nightmare of losing someone dear reveals the hidden fear of separation and loneliness. By recognizing the emotional message behind the dream, people can strengthen relationships and appreciate the connections that give life meaning and warmth. One of the most terrifying nightmare experiences occurs when a person feels awake but unable to move or speak. In this state, the dreamer may sense a presence in the room, feel pressure on the chest, or try desperately to call for help without making a sound. This experience is often connected to sleep paralysis, a condition in which the body temporarily remains immobilized while the mind becomes conscious. Although the experience is brief, it can feel extremely real and frightening. Emotionally, this nightmare reveals a powerful fear of helplessness. Humans naturally seek control over their actions and environment. When the body refuses to respond, the mind experiences intense panic and vulnerability. Sleep paralysis nightmares often appear during times of emotional exhaustion or stress. Lack of sleep, anxiety, and irregular sleep patterns can increase the likelihood of experiencing this phenomenon. Another psychological interpretation focuses on suppressed emotions. Feeling unable to move or speak in the dream may symbolize real life situations where the dreamer feels silenced or powerless. For example, someone who struggles to express their opinions in relationships or work environments may experience this nightmare. The inability to scream reflects the frustration of not being heard. The presence sometimes felt during sleep paralysis can represent the mind projecting fears onto the environment. Shadows or figures may appear as the brain attempts to interpret sensations while the body remains still. Although the experience can feel supernatural, it is generally understood as a natural interaction between sleep stages and brain activity. The emotional intensity of this nightmare often leaves a lasting impression. The dreamer may wake with a racing heart and lingering fear. However, understanding the psychological and physical causes can reduce anxiety about the experience. Practicing healthy sleep habits, managing stress, and maintaining regular sleep schedules often helps decrease the occurrence of sleep paralysis. Ultimately, this nightmare reveals the hidden fear of losing control over one's body and voice. Yet it also reminds us of the powerful connection between the mind, emotions, and the mysterious world of dreams that unfolds each night.